It is another player signing Wednesday for the Cincinnati Cyclones and a busy offseason starting out with some big names. First, the captain, Justin Vibe, returning to Cincinnati, and now one of the most elite defensemen in the ECHL, number 5, Jalen Smereck, coming back for year 2 with the Cincinnati Cyclones. And Jay, you became a fan favorite in a very short time. A lot of memorable moments with the Cyclones, and of course, getting to be with a team that made a deep playoff run, getting to the second round, winning the Central Division title in the regular season. How exciting is this for you to be coming back to a place that has this winning culture and get back to work?
I think it's unreal, man. Like you said, the fans are great. The staff's great. Everything around the rink's great. They treat us all well there. It's just good. It's a good feeling to have a happy home. I've been moving around a lot since I came into the pro. So it's just good to go back to the same spot for a second year and have that little chip on your shoulder. We want to make it to the third round, try to get to the fourth round, and eventually, we want to go for a championship. We want to go as far as we can. So, like I said, it's just good to come back to the same place again and kind of be the same staff and kind of some of the same players and just be in the same system and be used to it, be comfortable and just kind of go through the same things again and just hope for a better outcome.
You mentioned bouncing around a little bit. The ECHL was not new to you, but it was something you had to get reacclimated to after playing a little bit overseas. I think most fans know whenever we talk overseas, it's bigger ice, it's a little wider. Here, it's tighter space. You have to make decisions maybe a bit quicker in the ECHL, but I mean, man, you thrived. You had 50 points in 53 games as a defenseman. Cyclones played 11 postseason games. You led the entire team in playoff points. How nice was it for you to get back and come back? And I mean, maybe I'm wrong for saying this. You tell me. You're in your mid-20s still, but I think that may have been the best version of Jalen Smereck we've seen as a pro.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely felt good. It was tough at first coming back, playing some 3-and-3s and some 4-and-5s, especially coming back from Germany where you don't play back-to-back days. So that was hard at first, but the body got used to it. It was good to be back on U.S. soil, and it was just good to play, back in America, like I said, close to home. It's good that a lot of family could come out and see me, and like I said, after everything that I went through last year, I just felt the most. I just felt like the best version of myself, and I've kind of been able to keep everything outside of the rink, that's been a distraction to me in the past, and I've just been able to focus on hockey, and last year was a good year for that, and that was the outcome, so I was pretty thankful for that. Just I want to prepare for an even better year now.
And I'm sure we'll circle back to that here in a couple of moments. I'd love to stay on the ice, though, for another topic there and talking about your points and your success. Last year, when we were breaking down the Cyclones in the postseason, in the Kelly Cup playoffs, as I mentioned, you led the team in points. What's crazy, man, is you've been around for a while. You played a good amount in the AHL. You played in the Coast. You played overseas in the Dell, other good leagues. But that was your first experience of pro hockey since, or pro playoff hockey, I should say, since being in Flint in the OHL. What was it like to get back in those situations? Because everybody says when you get to the playoffs, it feels like an entirely different season.
Yeah, it is for sure. It's definitely, it's the season, honestly. And the whole regular season's kind of just like it's like a prep. It's like a preseason for the playoffs. You want to get to the playoffs, and that's your season, right? Do or die. So it was just a great feeling to make it. Me personally, I wish I would have had a little bit more in the tank. As we got to Toledo there, I was pretty gassed from going 7 with Fort Wayne, being in a tough fall series. They played hard. They played me real hard. Just kind of being banged up. This year I think I'll be able to prepare myself better, my body better. And I think we'll just be more prepared as a team all around. And, I'll be a better leader now. Now that I got some games on my belt, I'll be able to kind of help guys through that situation. And, I won't have those same nerves that I had, my first time playing in playoffs. So next year I'm just looking to be more comfortable in the playoffs and be a bigger asset to the team.
I think I mean, hearing you say that, obviously you've taken accountability into the Cyclones exit the way it was. I think those, if you want to call them learning moments, kind of hidden to the naked eye. I think a lot of fans didn't really notice. Obviously, the team didn't, collectively perform the way they would have liked against Toledo. I don't know that anybody necessarily saw you as a weakness. To me, it still looked like you were playing your game. You had a huge, awesome breakaway goal in game 2. Everyone remembers in that second round against the Walleye. But are there any specific details that you can break down for the casual fan? Like, what are the things you're talking about when you say it can be different this year? The things that you've learned, the things that you've taken away from playoff hockey.
For the first round, I think it was pretty good for the most part. But my main focus throughout the playoffs, and when I say that, I'm mainly talking about like the slippery slopes, right? There's some games that are better than others. Some games where I was kind of non-existent in my D zone. Some games where, I had too many turnovers in both zones or throughout the whole game. So just being more consistent and constantly building every day and getting better as, each game progresses, right? Like the more you play in playoffs, the better you kind of want to get. It's okay to kind of mess up here and there or have a mistake. Mistakes shouldn't be made in this game of hockey, but there was times where, there were some lows for me and there were some highs, and then there's some kind of in betweens, right? So I just want to have kind of that in between and high and kind of level it out, and just be consistent.
We talked about this, Jalen. I mean, you've been around the game, but you're in your mid-20s. So by age, it's young, but by years, you've seen it, you've done it. When you entered the Cyclones last year, I think Dejan Mingo was kind of the elder statesman of the D corps. He was a little bit of an older guy. He, like you, had played for a few different teams before coming to Cincinnati. And one of the things that you touched on just a minute or two ago was how you feel that maybe you can be a better leader, somebody that will talk and perhaps, go through those teaching moments with some of the younger blue liners on the team. Obviously, at the tail end of the year, Dejan Mingo traded or released by the Cyclones. With the way that the dominoes are kind of falling right now, we still have a long off season with a lot of players left to sign. But you, at 25, 26 years old, could be taking that role of being the elder statesman, of being the veteran D that's going to be having to help teach some rookie defensemen or some defensemen that have less meaningful games played than you do. Have you thought about that at all? And how do you take on that role?
Yeah, I've thought about it, but the main thing for me is, I think I'm always kind of in that leadership role. Even though, I may be the younger guy, or last year, I was kind of new to the team and everything. I always want to kind of bring that leadership presence, and I always want to try to step up and, get the guys going. I'm a big believer in that. I love bringing energy, and doing whatever it takes to get the team going. So, just for me, it's just being more consistent as a leader, right? There's some, like I said, there's kind of like a slippery slope. Some games I'm there as a leader, some games I'm not. And it's easier too when your play kind of backs it up, and like Justin Vibe, who's a great captain. Viber brings the same thing every game, right? You're going to get out of him. He brings 110% every game, and that's the way he leads. And it's real easy to follow behind. And if I can just do the same thing and be consistent every game, and kind of feed off Viber and help him, and same thing with Louie and help Louie and whoever comes back, just kind of building with the older guys on the team and just going from there. That's take it step by step from day one.
Let me ask you a team question now, because you're referencing other players on the Cyclones. You also said whoever comes back. And this is, I think, a hot topic amongst fans right now. There is a new affiliation coming in here with the New York Rangers and the Hartford Wolfpack. We can't reveal, you're only our second announced player signing, so we can't reveal who all is down the pipeline in terms of new faces, in terms of returnees. But when you reflect on the 22-23 season, one that did end with you guys being first place in the Central Division, second best record in the entire ECHL that spans 28 teams. I mean, what do you look back on? What's the fond memories there? Because I do think that, not only are there fun things to look at, which I'm asking you about, but on top of that, I think, some seriously like meaningful foundation that this team has moving forward for bigger and better expectations next season?
I think some of the biggest moments were just throughout that winning streak, you know. Honestly, there are some games where the boys came back to the room and were like, dude, how did we just win that game? You know, and it's the chemistry, it's the team bonding, it's the, you know, coming together and just, you know, we're all willing to do whatever it took to win. And that's kind of just what it was. And you know, the bus rides are great. You know, boys having fun, and you know, it's always good, right? You're on the road, you're playing a game, right? You want to win, have that happy bus. You know, and the boys kind of had the slogan going. You know, they were wagging. You know, and we kind of wagged our way through the season, and you know, there's nothing else to look at besides, you know, that amazing winning streak that we went on.
Again, to double down too, and I mean, fans are, what we're talking about is that 21 game point streak. Cyclones went 19-0-2 for essentially 2 entire months. Crazy way it ended, but the unbelievable run. But you know, Jay, looking back at the good match, dude, what?
How did it end, Moss? Tell me about it.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't think you do either.
Was I playing that game?
No, didn't you get suspended?
So you're saying it's my fault, right? Oh, there it is. There it is.
That's
there it is.
fault, man.
Hey, thanks, bud. Thanks, bud. Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
Saying, there was a warrant for your arrest in Utah, man. You
can't, you can't hear that. They might cancel you. Utah might come after us now. They might cancel you.
Oh man, I'm crying.
Got absolutely escorted throughout the airport, eh? Had two bodyguards for you, those of you who don't know.
Yeah. No, that didn't actually happen, but yeah, he was suspended for that game. He was suspended for that game. Well, Jay, like trying to wheel it all back, trying to get this wagon back on control here. You know, we talk about the fond memories and even stuff like that. I mean, you laugh about it now, right? But in all seriousness, at the end of it, and yeah, it wasn't the ending anybody wanted, but I think there is a foundation for this team now where it's like, okay, we know coming into next year, like you, Viver, Louie, other returnees, people that are going to come into that locker room for the first time. Players like yourself are going to establish the standard for them that, you know, we don't want to be a team that's maybe we'll make the playoffs. The Cyclones are in a foundation and in a period where you're trying to run away with it, and you're kind of going into this season, I think, with somewhat of a mindset of like unfinished business, if I'm right.
Yeah, no, you're correct. 100%. And like I said, that's kind of the mindset, right? We want to come back. We want to build. You know, we want to get past round 2, take it to round 3, maybe even round 4, you know, hope for that championship. You know, and that's the goal, right? So, you know, like last year we were building, you know, to make the playoffs. And then once we got the playoffs, we wanted to make it out of the first round. And I think now this year we come back and we kind of have that foundation. We made it to the second round. We know what it takes, you know, right? Hopefully we bring back a good enough core, just so we have that feeling in the locker room to have enough guys in the locker room that know what it takes to make it to that second round. And like I said, hopefully we can advance past that second round and, you know, hopefully win the whole thing.
All right. Well, the last thing I'll ask before we let you get going is, and by the way, a reminder, everybody, that this is going to begin Saturday, October 21st. It will be first face-off. The Cincinnati Cyclones are at home to kick off their season against the Wheeling Nailers. Tickets are on sale now at cycloneshockey.com. But before we let Jay go, Jay, let's just bring it back to the very start of this conversation, how coming to Cincinnati for you gave you an opportunity to focus and stay in the moment and stay on the ice and kind of block out that white noise that was there the year prior. Your story is incredibly well documented. It's something we touched on last year when the Clones first signed you. It's something that was a topic of conversation throughout your first season. In fact, I will give a shout out to Marshall Kramsky at WCPO because
Marshall's the man.
Yeah, Marshall is the man, and Jalen Smereck and Marshall Kramsky's feature interview with some side commentary from Jason Payne, Josh Burnside, Dejan Mingo. It won a local award. It's up for a regional Emmy now, so you can find that piece online. Again, award-winning coverage, telling the story of Jalen Smereck, and Jay, obviously, you and I can sit here, we can smile about it, but for so many, and for yourself, it's an incredibly important topic. It's an incredibly important part of life. And just being able to feel comfortable and just being able to come to the rink and not worry about those other things. And in your case, you were quoted on record saying, you had never in pro hockey played with this many players of color, had a black head coach. What is it like to have that? Because I think for you, it provides comfort that, maybe so many players don't realize what that does for someone like yourself with the background you have.
It was great. And I think that was another reason to my success last year. Especially after, like you said, what I went through in Ukraine, just coming home, feeling good, blocking everything out, blocking that white noise out, being comfortable in the locker room, having those faces around the locker room, and, just being able to relate with them. It was amazing to have, me go in the locker room, Burnside, and, a black head coach, and Jason Payne, who just kind of understood me, and he knew kind of, what I've gone through, and kind of, he understood it, right? He's been through it himself. So it just makes everything a lot easier. And it's just a center of release. I don't know, man. It's a lot to put into words, but it was just, I don't know, it was like an opening for me to just come out and, be myself after, like I said, what I went through, and just being comfortable, and just, Coach Payne believing in me, and letting me go be myself on the ice. So, it was just great.
Well, I think you were the best version of yourself that we've seen. And again, you're a young guy with a lot of skills. So I think hopefully this is just kind of the start of tapping on that ceiling before we see another breakthrough and the next evolution of Jalen Smereck. For now, we have to wait a few months until we see that. Jay is taking the time today to talk to us, even though he's busy doing hockey camps. Actually, before we let you go, yeah, Jay, you're running all around the country doing hockey camps. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm just working for a friend of mine who runs Simply Defense Camp. He also runs the Strictly Shooting Camp and the Advanced Simply Defense Camp. So right now I'm just in Rochester, New York, hanging out, running a camp from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day, Monday through Thursday. I think there's about 12 different states that he goes to. Next, I'm going back home in Michigan next week, Monday through Thursday, kind of the same deal. I believe it's 7 a.m. to 6 a.m. as well, or 8 a.m. to 6 a.m. 6 p.m. Sorry. And then at the end of the month, I'll be able to go hang out in New Jersey and run a camp in Red Bank, New Jersey, with a few old Cyclone, Zach Brazola. Hopefully he comes back too. He's a good friend of mine, so that'll be fun. Cincy fans, if you're looking, to go to a camp, I believe the website is simplydefense.com or something like that. I might have to get back to you on that one, Monster. But
Yeah,
no, it's a great camp. There's a lot of teaching for young kids, ages 6 to 7 or to about 15, I think it is, 15, 16. Even kids who are just, learning to start skating. We get some newer faces who are learning to skating, and we get some older guys who are playing AAA that are, ages up to 15 or 16. So it's good.
Yeah. Jalen, when we get off this, we'll have you send the link, and we'll make sure that we put that out there as well for anybody that is looking to get on the ice, get out in the camp, get ready for this fall, and get to do so with a couple of Cyclone players. We don't know about Bezo, but we know Jalen Smereck is coming back. So we'll end it here. Again, a mini chirps, our second player signing ahead of the 2023-24 Cyclone season. It is Jalen Smereck. And Jay, appreciate the time as always, and we look forward to seeing you come October.
Hey, I don't know if I'm looking forward to seeing you, but all right, Monster, we'll talk to you later, bud. Thank you. Thanks for having me.